welcome to a very exciting edition of BizTech on GhanaWeb TV. This is a special edition of BizTech on GhanaWeb TV with me, Maulia Holimega, and today we are bringing it to you live from Parliament House in Accra, where the Finance Minister, Dr. Cassel Ato-Forson, will be presenting the 2025 budget and economic policy of the John Mahama administration. Is the maiden one which is expected to set the tone for the John Mahama administration. And these exactly are the steps where the Finance Minister will be making his way into Parliament House, where he'll be addressing lawmakers as he delivers the presentation before lawmakers. And subsequently, that budget would have to be approved by the House. And we'll be bringing you reactions from both the minority as well as the majority side of the House following that budget presentation by Dr. Cassel Ato-Forson, the Finance Minister of Ghana. This is a very special edition of BizTech on GhanaWeb TV. Do stay tuned with us.
Beyond the domestic maturities, Ghana faces significant external debt service obligations for the next 4 years. In the next 4 years, we'll be made to call upon to pay $8.7 billion US dollars, representing 10.9% of GDP, with heavy concentration again in the year 2027 and 2028. Again, Mr. Speaker, 55% of this external debt service will be due in the year 2027 and 2028. Right, Honorable Speaker, in the year 2027, we'll be made to pay $2.5 billion US dollars, and 2028, we'll have to again pay $2.4 billion US dollars. Right, Honorable Speaker, it seems the debt restructuring undertaken by the previous administration was designed to make 2027 and 2028 debt repayment heavy, sadly. So, Speaker, I don't know how come we sat and allowed that design to happen. So, Speaker, that is cancerous. But I can assure you, we will fix it. I now take you to VAT reforms, VAT reforms. Right, Honorable Speaker, we commit to the people of Ghana and this House, the business community, that we will undertake a comprehensive value-added tax reform this year. So, Speaker, with the aim to review the current distortions and cascading structure of the value-added tax regime. Ghana's effective rate, VAT rate is about 22%. This is obviously because the 2.5% Get Fund levy, the National Health Insurance levy of 2.5%, and the COVID levy are well added to the base for a final determination of what is due for VAT purposes. So, Speaker, aside the high VAT rate, businesses are not permitted by law to claim their input VAT for NHIL, Get Fund, and COVID levy, compounding the burden on households. Right, Honorable Speaker, our VAT regime has been distorted and rendered inefficient. It combines both VAT and sales tax principles with a flat rate, standard rate, and levies. We have requested for technical assistance from the Fiscal Affairs Department of the IMF on VAT reforms. It is expected that the IMF mission will commence in April 2025. The recommendations from the Technical Assistance Mission are expected to inform our reform. So, Speaker, ahead of the IMF Technical Assistance Mission, I will inaugurate a VAT reform task force to hold broad consultation with key stakeholders for their input. Speaker, Ghanaians, Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians and this Honorable House will recall that road tolls on public roads were zero rated in the year 2022. Demand for construction and improvement of road infrastructure continues to increase, even as substantial arrests and claims in the road sector remains. Right, Honorable Speaker, while the annual average collection from road tolls have not been significant compared to its potential, the existing zero-rated policy for road tolls has increased the situation and dimmed the prospect of raising enough revenue from tolls to road construction and maintenance. Accordingly, government will work with the stakeholders, including the private sector, to roll out a technology-driven solution to reintroduce road tolls this year as part of the big push. We have programmed the following nuisance taxes for removal in line with our manifesto promise. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 10% withholding tax on winning from lottery, otherwise known as the betting tax. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the electronic transfer levy, e-levy, of 1%. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 10% withholding tax on betting. We will abolish the electronic transfer levy, e-levy of 1%. We will abolish the emission levy, otherwise as a Wusie tax. We will abolish the VAT on motor vehicle insurance policy. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed gold by small-scale miners. Mr. Speaker, the removal of these taxes will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable income. Right, Honorable Speaker, the removal of these taxes will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable incomes. In addition, it will support business growth and improve tax compliance. Speaker, the parameters for VAT reform will be for them to complete this year. Speaker, the parameters will include the following. 1, abolishing the COVID levy. Mr. Speaker, reversing the decoupling of GetFund and NHIL VAT from VAT. Mr. Speaker, reducing the effective VAT rate for households and businesses. Reversing the VAT flat rate regime and upwardly adjusting the VAT registration threshold to exempt micro and small businesses from the collection of VAT. Mr. Speaker, we also improve compliance through public education and awareness. We committed to running a lean, efficient government of 60 ministers. Mr. Speaker, we have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to scrapping the e-levy. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to scrapping the betting tax. We have delivered. Right, Honorable Speaker, we committed to eliminate academic fee for first-year public tertiary students. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to providing free tertiary education for all people with disability. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to providing dedicated source of funding for free secondary education. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to distributing sanitary pads to our schoolgirls. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to uncap GetFund. We have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we committed to uncap the national health insurance. We have delivered. Right, Honorable Speaker, we committed to uncap the road fund to maintain our roads. We have delivered.
The minority leader and I share something in common. we were both assemblymen. And when the Minister of Finance made the unprecedented announcement of a gargantuan sum of money for assemblymen, I saw the gleeful smile on his face. Unfortunately, it will not apply to ex-assemblymen. Mr. Speaker, this clearly is a budget of a government and a party that keeps its promises. Almost every promise that was made by John Dramani Mahama is being fulfilled in less than 120 days. This budget is a budget for Makola women. This budget is a budget for assemblymen. This budget is a budget for girls. This budget, 22 parts, students, girls, students, 22 parts.
Mr. Speaker, the youth of this country have been waiting for this 24-hour economy policy. The minister tells us the policy will be brought later. Hey, Ato, the policy will be brought later. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that all the jobs they promised the youth of this country was merely an Azam promise. Mr. Speaker, there is no inspiration from this budget. There is no hope in this budget.
At the time they leave government, it is only 5%. Average industry growth, 5% for the next 4 years. When the MPP recorded 7% in 2024. So the 24-hour economy is another Sakawa. The jobs they are promising will not happen. The budget did not address the cost of living issues. Cost of living issues haven't been addressed. Transport fares continue to increase. The budget did not address how they are going to ensure that petroleum product prices do not increase. And once petroleum product prices continue to increase, transport fares will continue to increase. This budget did not address that. This budget did not address energy bills, electricity bills. They didn't talk about how they are going to reduce energy bills. They didn't talk about how to decrease water bills. All these bills will continue to increase, looking at the indicators that we are seeing. And we thought that having campaigned on cost of living crisis and came to power with the support of the Ghanaian people, the least the government could do was to present a budget that will address the cost of living crisis in terms of transport fares, in terms of petroleum product prices, in terms of energy bill. Betting tax that they said they have abolished. We never collected betting tax. We never implement the betting tax. So to come and tell Ghanaians that you have abolished something that was not implemented is to deceive the people of Ghana. My brothers and sisters, they are talking also about gold bond. It's important I address this. The gold bond, as you heard the minister talk about, is to be financed from the budget. The minister is allocating $279 million to the gold bond. We have never funded the gold purchase program or gold for oil program from the budget. It's never happened. And so to fund the gold bond from the budget, in our view, is just to put in money to be benefited by NDC cronies. It is to create loot and share. The Bank of Ghana was funding the gold for purchase program from a revolving fund, and therefore it did not affect the taxpayer. Now you have a gold board, which is going to rely on the taxpayer. We think that this is create, loot, and share, and we will resist it.
How can you call a budget as a when the people voted for these issues in 2024 election? The verdict of this budget was cast on December 7, 2024. Because all these issues are catered for under this budget. For instance, the removal of the betting tax. We promised the good people. How can removal of betting tax be as a?
You are allocating only 800 million. By the end of 4 years, you would have done not more than 5 billion. How are you going to create the jobs? Where will the infrastructure be? So let's be honest and speak about what is right.
Government can do something about the tax refunds to make revenue available to make up for the losses that we would have had to deal with as a result of the removal of the taxes. For me, was a classic one. Again, uncapping Get Fund, it's a classic for me. Look, the budget for free SHS alone this year is about 3 billion. The uncapping of Get Fund will make available about 4 billion. That is like getting 2 times you would have had. And what that is going to lead to is, educational infrastructure explosion, in the educational area.
So the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kesolatu Forson, has just delivered his 2025 Budget and Economic Policy of Government, which is the maiden one of the John Mahama administration. And the Finance Minister outlined a number of initiatives that the government intends to take, which is some allocation of funds for the free SHS, as well as a GET fund. Notable among this 2025 budget is the abolishment of the COVID tax, the betting tax, as well as the electronic transfer levy. And government believes that it has the needed additional revenue sources where it can achieve some of these funds through cutting down on expenditure as well as plugging loopholes within the tax system. TV. We also got to speak to some notable persons within the minority side as well as the majority side of Parliament to also pick their reactions from the 2025 Budget and Economic Policy of Government. This has been a special edition of BizTech on GhanaWeb TV with me, Malia Holmega, reporting from Parliament House in Accra.